And today is going to be Atlas's first time grooming, so I'm just going to let him target and sniff the brush here. And he touches it, I'm going to click him and then give him a little bit of hay. So I'm just going to start out as I do with other things, just letting him touch the brush and make sure he's okay with it before I actually touch him with it. So I've just brought it up a little bit further. He touches it and I'll click him and go ahead and feed him again. So I've petted him everywhere, like he's used to my hands petting from his nose all the way back to his tail, but he has not been brushed before. So I'm just gonna kind of let his face run into the brush, and I'll click him when that happens and go ahead and feed him. So I'm gonna use pretty high rate of reinforcement, so I really wanna keep him chewing and interested. So there, I'm gonna give him a little stroke. As soon as I do that, I'm gonna click and feed again. So I want him to chew a little bit, and then I'll start going ahead and brushing him a little bit, and then I will click again and continue to feed. So he's constantly eating as he would if he was just eating a pile of hay. So I want to keep him nice and relaxed. There, he picked his head up, so I'm just going to wait till he relaxes and then go ahead and try again. I'll click and then I'll go ahead and feed again. So if he gets worried like that, I'll just pause like there, and then I'll go ahead and brush him. So he just got to get used to it. He has not done this before, so I'm not going to worry him too much. And I'm just going to kind of work my way back on him. And I'm going to just show you this left side here. I'm going to do the same exact thing on the right side. It's just going to be real boring. So I have a really soft brush in my hand. Kind of have to figure out what your horse likes, but most of them like this brush, so I started out with this one. You might have to go a little bit slower than this and kind of keep on their face a little bit. But Atlas seems to be doing all right. I probably, looking back on it, I would have gone a little bit slower, like when he raises his head, and just waited for him to relax a bit more. But other than that, he does pretty good. So I don't really love that head lift part. It could be him kind of reacting to maybe thinking about getting food. That was much better. But I think he's a little bit worried about the brush, but not too much. But I want to definitely pay attention to that. So if you're teaching this to your horse, definitely make sure that they're comfortable with it. Raising the head is definitely one of those signs of tension. So watching it back, I definitely would have wished I went a little bit slower and just kind of pause when he lifts that head up. And then once he goes to relax, I'll kind of back off, let him just have a minute, and then I'll come back. So I think I went a little bit too fast, but he is doing pretty good. So I kind of have my little mounting block here just in case. Kind of just provides a little bit of a barrier between this. You can also start doing this with protective contact with the horse on one side of a fence. I believe that's how I start brushing Atlas, or Castor. Yes, I do. I start him with protective contact. So you can do that with your horse as well. His legs the part with his legs look really good. He's not lifting his head. He's not super worried. I think he has a little bit of touchiness, kind of on his ears behind his poll. And you could see that in the previous videos with the whip and the rope. So I think that's all that was with the brush. But again, I still would have kind of sorted that out a little bit better than I did here. But he is doing well. He's not super concerned. I'm just going to move him over so that the camera can see him side on and see where I'm brushing. So I'm just having him target and follow my hand so I can get him into position here. And then I'm trying to move the block so you can, so I'm still have the block to kind of help me out there, but he wants to move around and kind of get out of position here. So I'm just going to put him back. And you can have your horse haltered too. I just like to do this at liberty with him. For him, he likes to be kind of flighty, so I like giving him that option. If he wants to run away, I'd rather him do that. But I'm just kind of moving down his back here. Same thing. As soon as it's touching and giving him a little brush, I'm clicking, I'm taking it off, and then I'm feeding. Just make sure that you're clicking while the brush is on the horse. So you don't want to brush him and then click and feed, because then you're just clicking and rewarding for him standing next to you and not for the brushing itself. So, and I'm just giving him little tiny handfuls and keeping him chewing the whole time. And you can do as much brushing or as little brushing as you want. Like, you might have a horse that's real worried and you need to kind of stay on his face for a while and then kind of move down to the neck and kind of do it in sections. I like to start in one section and kind of make my way down. But he was pretty cool with the whole length of his body. And again, make sure your horse is comfortable with the rope touching him everywhere, the whip lash touching him everywhere, the whip itself or the stick. And then your hands as well. So those are all very important to do first and then bring the brush in. So I don't just do this first. I don't like to go ahead and touch on them and pet them and brush them before I've desensitized with this lunge whip or the training stick or anything like that. So that's just something to think about before you start training. So I'm just going to try and put him in a little bit better position here. There we go. And then I'm doing a little bit longer strokes too as I go on, and he seems to be handling it quite well. And I've kind of scooted the block back so when I'm brushing under his belly, just in case, like if he wants to kind of kick up, the block is there. I just have a little bit of a barrier there. And Atlas does already know how to move around the block. He's kicked it on accident. He's kind of banged into it, so he knows it makes sounds. He's not afraid of it. So that's another prerequisite to doing this, because you don't want to be brushing your horse for the first time and he kind of kicks his leg against it and scares himself. So all those things have to be done first. So I'm just working toward his tail. He's staying nice and relaxed. He's not moving around. So we've already sorted those things out. So he's used to me touching his hindquarters and his hind legs, and he's used to me walking toward his hindquarters. So we've already gotten all those pieces sorted. So I break it down into little steps so that the horse can understand it, and then I can add something in. So this looks really good. He's not moving his head. He's not shutting down. His neck's fairly relaxed. His ears are moving. He's chewing the whole time. So these are all good signs that he's not super worried. And he's eating out of my hand decently too. I really like that, because right now I'm using like a chopped hay. So it's even smaller than the like chunks of hay or pieces of hay that I've been pulling off of flakes. So he's really getting better with that. And if you saw his treat feeding video, he's understanding that, which I'll have more on that process once you start standing up near the horse. So, but he's doing quite well. And you can go a little bit faster than this too. It really depends on the horse, on how fast you go. But I really like his body positioning here. He's doing quite well. And I have the block kind of positioned at an angle, so the solid side is kind of toward his leg. So if he wants to kind of pick up his leg, he kind of runs into that versus kind of hits, there's like the holes in the side of it and the front and the back of it. So I don't want his leg getting caught in there. So it's just, I've positioned it in a certain way for this reason. So, and then I want to reach down with my hand, kind of keep my head away just in case, but he's doing quite well. And I would just do the same exact thing on the other side. So all I do is have him target my hand, he follows me over, and then I just position the block, and then I start from his face and work my way down again. And I'll do this over and over again in this same manner until I feel like it's pretty solid, and then I'll just start brushing him from different locations. I'll start brushing him on the belly, I'll start brushing him on the leg, and we'll just kind of work on that. But I'm working on his foot a little bit too. I'm just kind of reaching down, making sure that he's okay with me touching his leg, and he is, because I want to also start working on picking up the feet. So that's where this is going to kind of come in. So I'm in the correct position there, and he's doing quite well with that. So I was going ahead and just kind of pressing on his chestnut a little bit, and then I'm clicking when he's leaning his weight off the leg. So it might be a little hard to see. I just went ahead and pet there. See, he kind of rocked his weight away from me. That's what I'm clicking for there. So I'm just going ahead and seeing if he'll kind of move his weight off of, and then I'm rewarding that and going ahead and clicking him for that. So there he leans his weight, and I'm clicking and rewarding. because I want him to start thinking about lifting the foot, and that's why I love to break things down. So he's used to this, then he can get used to just kind of lifting it a little bit, and then he lifts it more, then he holds it, and then I'm picking it out. So it's all broken down in little bite-sized pieces that the horse understands. So again, he leaned his weight away. I'm gonna click and feed. So super job for him for today, like really awesome job on both of those things. So I'm just kind of desensitizing, kind of brushing me off. And I'll just kind of wait. There he leans, and there we have an actual foot lift too, so that looks pretty good. Give him a nice big handful there, because that is the first time he lifted his foot in response to my cue, so that's pretty cool. So again, a little bit of desensitizing, just run my hand down his leg. Perfect, another nice foot lift. That was really good. See, that's why when you break it down, like I took an extra minute to get the horse to lean his weight and kind of figure that out. That's what I was wanting, and now I've gotten 2 really nice hoof lifts. So, and this is the first time he's done it, so that was pretty cool. And it's okay if he goes back and doesn't understand. I'm just gonna wait, and there we go. I have 3. Perfect. So that's not bad for his first time at all. Good. Go back, do some desensitizing, because I don't want him to anticipate every single time I run my hand down his leg, he needs to pick it up. So I'm just kind of going ahead, brushing him off, making sure he's cool with that touch and not anticipating that foot lift. So I've got hay all over me, but he's being really great. So just take a minute to kind of brush on him, pet on him, and just kind of, not do any work. We're just going to hang out for a minute. We're just going to work on touching his face. This was what I was talking about a little bit earlier. He gets a little worried when my hand's kind of up around his poll and his ears, so I'm just going to hold my hand and wait until he touches me with his head. So I'm just having him target right there. I'll click and feed. So when I go to go ahead and pet in that area, he'll raise his head up and he's just tense. He's trying to get a better look at me. He's trying to pull his head away. So his head raises right there, and I'm just going to wait until he touches me. So I'm giving him that power there and that control that I'm not just going to touch him, that I'm paying attention, I'm listening to him, and I'm just going to wait until he allows that touch. So he initiates it. So I'm just going to hold it and click, and I'll go ahead and feed him. So he's really worked through a couple different things today. That all looks pretty good. But really the horses really like when they notice that you understand that they're worried and you help them work through that versus kind of forcing them through it, because then they can be more shut down or they could be more anxious when they know you're not going to listen. But that was a great session for him today.